Interestingly, over the weekend, when I was just sitting around after decorating my house for Christmas, nothing to do, I sat down and decided to watch a Netflix movie. And what they were promoting was this movie with Julia Roberts and Kevin Bacon and Ethan Hawke called Leave the World Behind. Now, I didn't find the movie particularly that great or interesting. I mean, it was entertaining enough for a lazy Sunday afternoon, but the movie was about a massive cyber attack that was hitting the United States that ultimately would lead to war. Spoiler alert, by the way. I guess I should have said that in advance just in case you're going to watch it, because it doesn't really tell you exactly. Maybe the previews do. I didn't watch any of the trailers. I just kind of turned on the movie and thought, okay, what's this? All right. Kevin Bacon, Julia Roberts, sure. But it's about a massive cyber attack that is happening on the United States and right before a hot war. Well, then yesterday, Rumble was down in what was potentially a cyber attack, according to the CEO, Chris Pavlovski. This is what he tweeted out yesterday. He says, "I can confirm that this attack has been unprecedented and has been happening since this weekend. I also suspect it's political, coming from activists and or organizations who want to censor our creators and related to January 6 videos being posted on Rumble." So this is what he says. Now, luckily, everything is restored. That's why we're back on tonight. We weren't on last night. We ended up doing a replay because we weren't really sure if we were going to be able to stream out. We weren't really sure what was going on, but luckily it did get fixed. So we're back here tonight. But Rumble did say that things were restored last night. They said services are slowly coming back to life, but still more work to do. We will keep everyone updated. And then they did say things have been 100% restored. Now, Zero Hedge ended up reporting that this happened after Rumble posted hours of January 6 footage. This is what Chris Pavlovski was saying. And this is from Zero Hedge saying last week it was revealed that the GOP-controlled Committee on House Administration's Subcommittee on Oversight had created a new Rumble channel to post hours of security footage from Capitol Police taken on January 6, 2021. So they decided to publish this onto Rumble, saying, quote, "The first few videos were posted to the Rumble channel on December 5th. By the next day, the collection grew to 135 clips, each about 10 minutes long. The channel had nearly 700 followers on December 7th. Then shortly after, Rumble was hit by a massive and seemingly organized attack that left people unable to upload or watch content. And then when it was restored, Rumble said a major thank you to our cybersecurity partners and our entire team. This was a massive learning experience that will only make us stronger. A big thank you to all the users and creators who have been incredibly patient with us during this time." So this was really bizarre, right? After they upload all this January 6 footage, there's an attack on the Rumble interface, the platform. We can't stream. Viewers can't get into the system. So you can't get in to watch the January 6 footage. It's possible that it was a political group, a political activist group, or, kind of think about who would have the motivation to not want you to see January 6 footage, who would benefit from that. So you could think about that. And then at the same time yesterday, this other ominous thing happened where I felt like I was living in that movie. News was coming out that Chinese hackers were disrupting U.S. infrastructure, including utilities and pipelines. Now, this was just like the movie. And in fact, some of the headlines even read that it was Iranian and Chinese, which is really just like the movie. Again, spoiler alert. Sorry about that. It's not that great of a movie. You're not missing out on much. You just, it's not like it's, anyway. Watch this from Fox News. They actually summarize what the accusations are against China and the cyber attacks that have been going on in various spots in the United States on U.S. infrastructure. Watch this.
Post reveals hackers affiliated with China's People's Liberation Army have infiltrated critical services here in the U.S.
Alexandra Hoff joins us now from our nation's capital. Alex, this is not good.
No, it's not. I mean, this infiltration appears to be part of a broader effort to insert chaos into our logistical systems. The information collected could then be weaponized if the U.S. and China were to become engaged directly in the Pacific. According to reporting from the Washington Post citing multiple U.S. and industry security officials, China's cyber army is invading critical U.S. services, like an attempt to break into the system behind Texas's independent power grid. Other victims include a water utility in Hawaii, a West Coast port, and at least one oil and gas pipeline. according to that report you're seeing there. Brendan Wells, executive director of the Department of Homeland Security Cybersecurity Agency, told the Washington Post this, quote, "It is very clear that Chinese attempts to compromise critical infrastructure are in part to pre-position themselves to be able to disrupt or destroy that critical infrastructure in the event of a conflict, to either prevent the United States from being able to project power into Asia or to cause societal chaos inside the United States to affect our decision-making around a crisis." The report notes that over the past year, hackers affiliated with the People's Liberation Army in China have accessed the computer systems of about 24 critical entities.
Okay, so there it is. So they're saying that water utility in Hawaii, a major West Coast port, and at least one oil and gas pipeline, as well as Texas power grid, were attacked by what they say are Chinese cyber army. Now, the name of the group that they're attributing this to is called Volt Typhoon, which was first detected about a year ago by the U.S. government. Let's pull up this sheet. This is from CISA. So the what does CISA stand for again? That's the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. So another one of those U.S. long agencies, CISA. This is the report that they put out May 24th of 2023. People's Republic of China state-sponsored cyber actor living off the land to evade detection. So what they mean by living off the land is that they're living inside of routers, and they say that they're kind of inside of computer systems, and that's how they're hacking. Here's the thing. They don't have any solid, hard evidence that Volt Typhoon is Chinese-backed, state-sponsored. They might be Chinese nationals. They're saying that they are a state-sponsored cyber actor. They don't really have any clear evidence of that. So this is kind of going back to the Russia's doing all of this stuff to us. It's Russia, the government of Russia. They're infiltrating, they're hacking. There's what was that one group called? Cozy Bear or something along those lines, or Fancy Bear. Fancy Bear is infiltrating our systems, and they're hacking us, and they're getting in for the election. And of course, here we are coming up to an election, and right around the same time, in fact, as when they were claiming that there was this Fancy Bear attack from Russia, now we're getting into this, well, it's this Volt Typhoon attack from China this time. And they're coming in and they're going to meddle with our infrastructure, and they're going to meddle with our elections. Now it's possible, of course it's possible, that a foreign government would be trying to infiltrate and mess with our infrastructure in preparation for war. That's the narrative that's going on right now. They're saying, well, the reason why China is doing this is because they're wanting to take Taiwan. They know that the United States might go to the defense of Taiwan. Not really likely, as we've seen with everything else going on foreign policy-wise. People don't really have an appetite for that. But nonetheless, this is the narrative, that the U.S. would rush to Taiwan's aid, that we'd end up in a war with China. And so China's response to that, they're preparing by they're going to infiltrate and attack our infrastructure. And that's the way that they're going to wage war. It won't be through typical warfare of missiles and guns and ships and blockades and all that. It would instead be this sort of cyber warfare thing, or a mixture, I suppose. So that's why they're saying China is doing this. But again, they have not been able to link. There's been no evidence linking Volt Typhoon to actually the government of China, or even truly linking Volt Typhoon to any of these cyber attacks. I'm sure they've got some data and some way of tracing, and so maybe they could get these guys, maybe they could pinpoint it a little bit. But, when it comes to this kind of stuff, unless somebody cops up to it and actually owns it, it's really difficult to know who did it. But nonetheless, they're saying China did it. And the thing to just really watch out for on this is just this ramped up rhetoric that is trying to bait us into a war. Or, there's a variety of reasons of why this narrative would be coming out right now. One would be to get us to go along with the war in the future, that if we have to go to the defense of Taiwan, they could maybe use this as a reason, saying, well, it wasn't just Taiwan that's attacked, it's we're attacked as well. Look at what China's doing to us. Same thing with the hot air balloons that were flying around the United States. What did those end up being? They ended up determining that it wasn't the Chinese government at all. There was in the beginning, they were saying, I think these are weather balloons. Then they started shooting them down, and a bunch of people on the right, a bunch of Republicans actually were saying, how dare Joe Biden? Of course, using any time anybody could use anything politically, they do. So they used it politically, and then it's recently come out, but of course it doesn't make headlines that, oh yeah, by the way, they were really nothing. It turns out there was no data collected. These were really just weather balloons or whatever. So there is this narrative, though, and we have to watch out for it because we live in a warmongering country that really the military-industrial complex loves to make a lot of money, and we seem to be in endless wars as the U.S. infrastructure itself actually crumbles. Here we are worrying about China attacking our cyber infrastructure when in reality our actual infrastructure is crumbling. We've got people addicted to fentanyl. We have a massive homeless crisis. We've got lots of problems, but instead we're just going to focus on continuing to go around the world in war after war after war. So one of the things to look out for is using this narrative for an actual hot war. Another thing to look out for is using this narrative to excuse whatever the outcome is for whatever the election, for this upcoming election. And whatever that outcome is, they're going to say China did it. China did it. It was China this time. Maybe China and Russia and Iran working together. So we've clearly got to go after all three. And somehow the people in Gaza did it too. I wouldn't be surprised if they lumped them all in together and said, so there you go. That is why we have to start World War III. I do want to play for you a clip from this movie because, again, I just watched this movie and it was like, how, sometimes when you watch movies from years ago, remember that movie? Was it Contagion? What was the one with Gwyneth Paltrow? And then if you watch it now, your jaw will drop. It's just like the pandemic. And it was like the pandemic played out on the big screen. And then suddenly we were living it in real life. And it was even a virus from China. It was like they just pulled it out of a movie. And then suddenly here I am watching this movie. And the very next day, all of these reports of cyberattack. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I am living in a movie again. For 3 days only, CBDistillery.com is giving you an exclusive offer, and it's incredible. Right now, you can get 30% off of everything when you use code RUMBLE. So choose from a range of carefully formulated CBD and other plant-based solutions for relaxation, stress, sleep, and pain after physical activity, even mood and focus. They extract healing plant compounds and vital nutrients for your whole body. No artificial colors or flavors or preservatives or sweeteners. Just 100% clean ingredients. So don't miss this exclusive VIP sale and get 30% off your order site-wide. So it's a really good deal. 30% off everything. Visit CBDDistillery.com and enter RUMBLE. That is CBDistillery.com and enter RUMBLE at checkout and get 30% off. So really great deal.